Hey there, superstar. Welcome to Time Management Strategies for Coaches and Consultants, Part 1, Aligning with the Rhythms of Life, Nature, and Your Own Self. The first thing I'll do in this video is talk a little bit about a reframe around the entire concept of time management. And then I'm going to talk about exactly how to do that by aligning to certain natural rhythms so that things are easier, more graceful, more flowing in your life and in your business. Why is time management even important? Why do we need to be talking about this? Well, it is my opinion and my experience that as coaches and consultants, we are leading others. And therefore, our energy matters. And if we are feeling overwhelmed, overworked, frustrated, behind the eight ball, we're always going to bring that energy to our clients and to our relationships and perpetuate more of that same energy. So I think that it is hyper important in the industry that we're in to manage our own energy and our own time effectively. That said, I have a problem with the concept of time management and even what I just said, managing time, because we're so bought into this concept that we can manage time. I do want to invite you to consider a different perspective. And as you can see, I'm working on reframing even my own language around this new perspective. And that is, instead of managing time, think about it as managing attention. When you think about it as managing time, you're putting the power outside of you into this thing called time. Like, I'm managing this thing that actually you can't manage time. Time passes the same every single day for every single human on this planet. So it's a very disempowering thing to think that you're managing something that you can't control or change. It's going to go where it goes, and it's going to keep running and ticking no matter what you do. So instead, the reframe is around managing attention. When you do that, you pull the power inside of you and you start to frame it as something that you're managing that you do control. Something you do have influence over is your own attention and how you use your time. Now, this might seem like a subtle reframe, but I guarantee you, as we dive into this, it's going to make a difference when you start to think about, first of all, managing something that's a resource that you have, your attention, and a resource you can cultivate, and something that you can align with your natural way of being and the natural way of being in the world. So I'll dive into what I mean by that in a moment. Now, before I get into this, I want to share with you just a little bit about my personal journey on this topic. I was diagnosed with ADD in college, and then I went back and got diagnosed again in my 30s because I wanted to make sure that it was real. I had tried medication, meditation, like all the things. And I've always been someone that has struggled with managing my attention effectively. I have tended to, in the past, get very distracted, and it's still something that I work with. And so I tell you this because I believe that I've come into a right relationship with time, or at least a much righter relationship with time than before. And I've done it in ways that might seem counterintuitive. I've done it by removing a lot of the disciplinary, forcing, kind of making myself do things in a certain way, and by the controlling, and by liberating myself and allowing myself to have more playtime, more free time, more fun time, has allowed me to actually become way more productive in my business. So I get a lot done in a pretty compressed amount of work time. And I take a lot of breaks. I take a lot of time off. And I also understand how I operate and align to that natural operating system. And I'm going to share with you a little bit of what that could look like for you. Before I dive into the 1, 2, 3s and the steps and the how-tos, I do want to invite you to take a moment to like this video, subscribe to my channel. I'd love to hear from you. If you have a comment or something you want to share below, I'd love to hear about it. So the first thing to look at is the rhythms of life, the rhythms of nature. We can sometimes forget that we are not in nature. We are of nature. We are nature. Our human physiology evolved alongside nature for thousands, hundreds of thousands, even millions of years. Our nervous system, our development, I'm not going to get into all the ways, but ultimately we evolved with alignment to the rhythms of a day, of the night, of the seasons, of the tides, right? All of nature is really a part of us and we are a part of it. However, in our modern business world, we tend to separate from nature, right? We live in artificial light and artificial air conditioning and heating in the winter and cooling in the summer and all sorts of ways that we kind of do not align with the rhythms and seasons of nature. And what I found is that the first thing you can do to manage your time and attention more effectively is to start to align to what's already happening around you, what's natural in the world, meaning getting to sleep at a time that's earlier in the winter and maybe later in the summer when the days are longer. So it's also about the monthly cycles too. There's a difference between the feeling of a full moon versus a new moon and aligning to those rhythms. I'm not going to go deep into this because I could talk about this for days and weeks, but I do want to invite you and encourage you to start to really sink into the natural weather and seasonal cycles and monthly cycles and even weekly and daily cycles and see if you can bring more alignment. Waking up with, slamming on the alarm clock at 5 a.m. when you're dead asleep is going to change the feeling of your day. It's going to change the feeling of your week, of your life, of your entire business. One of the things that I've done, and this brings me to point number 2, which is finding your personal rhythms. One thing that I've done is I've started my day later and later and later. Every single year, I actually push it back a little bit to the point where I now start my official workday and I do meetings with people no earlier than 11 a.m. Why? Because my personal rhythm feels like I get way more done in the morning for myself than I do in the evenings. And so I want to get my work done first. So I'm prioritizing my personal agenda and priorities first so that I get those done and then I have more to give to other people. The thing I recommend is to really start to pay attention to your unique operating system, your OS. How do you work best? Are you a morning person? Are you an evening person? Do you need, 3-day weekends, or do you want to, wake up later on Fridays? Or how is it that you operate best? And remembering that you became an entrepreneur so you could have freedom. So liberate yourself from the 9 to 5, Monday through Friday grind and ask yourself, what is in alignment with how I work best? The third thing to look at is daily cycles. So once you have a sense of your personal operating system, I invite you to take a look at each day and how you like to structure your days. I already talked about mornings and morning rituals, and I have a whole video about morning rituals that you can check out, morning practice. But when is it a good time for you to work out? When is it a good time for you to meditate? When is it a good time for you to eat, to walk your dog? Now, I'm not going to dive into it in this video, but in some of my other time management, attention management videos, I talk about blocking out times in your calendar. So I'm a big believer that you block out your personal time and your free time before you do anything else. And then you let your work fill in the spaces around what you've designated are top priorities for your health, your livelihood, and your well-being. The next thing to look at is your weekly cycles. Now, this has been a huge shift for me to look at my week in terms of what would support me in achieving my goals for myself and for my life and also for my business. So my weekly cycle, I find to be, first of all, it changes every single year or so. I try new things out. Like, for example, right now I'm taking Monday mornings off because that allows me to have less stress on Sunday nights because I know that I have Monday morning to kind of catch up and get myself ready. Another thing I've been doing is taking Wednesdays, no meetings, no Zoom Wednesdays, no meetings, nothing for other people. Wednesdays are about my creative projects, my books, my writing, all the things that I'm doing that's fun stuff for me. I do them on Wednesdays. And what that feels like then is I've got Monday mornings off. I work all day to the end of the day on Monday. Tuesday is a full-on client day for other people. Wednesday is my day for me, creative time. Thursday is another giving day, contribution, meetings, helping clients, working with them. And then Fridays are kind of like a little bit loosey-goosey, but I'm done with work by about 3 p.m. in the afternoon so that I have a nice, start to the weekend. And that's how I've structured my week this year. So invite you to consider what would work best for you as you look at your entire week. And look at the hot spots of the week. There are certain hot spots. Mondays are hot spots and Fridays are hot spots. Mondays because there's some stress often going into Mondays, and Fridays because people feel the need to release. So what you'll find a lot, and this is something I used to do, is people will drink a lot on Friday nights because they want to let loose from the week that they've been working so hard. So just looking at what your behaviors are and how you can mitigate that so that you can have more well-being. Now, I'm going to cut this video here, even though I have so much more to say. So I'm going to get into part 2 of this series, which is all about organizing and structuring your time. I'll see you over there. I look forward to continuing this conversation with you.